Hello, my name's Clennell, the Chief Executive of the Wychwood Forest Trust, and we are standing in Gibbets Hill, our newest nature reserve and soon-to-be habitat restoration experiment. Gibbets Hill was left to us last year as a legacy by one of our long-time supporters. It's an amazing acquisition for us, and the site is about 50 acres altogether. This site is what I would call recently ex-agricultural grassland, so if you look around, it looks very much like farmland at the moment. But it has lots of really interesting building blocks which will give us the opportunity to try some different approaches to nature conservation and restoration of a site like this.
My name's Toby Swift and I'm the Reserves Manager for the Wychwood Forest Trust. And I'm here today to talk to you about the hedges that we have here on Gibbets Farm Close. Now hedges, as you all know, are those things that link up woods and link up pathways, and the hedges we've got are lovely, lovely elm hedges. Elm has caught a disease in about 1977 and they all started to die. And a lot of elms were chopped down and taken away. Well, what we've decided to do is we're going to let the hedges grow, because what an elm tree does is it grows up and it grows up. And then when it gets to about 20 foot tall, the beetles that carry the disease bump into it, start to use it and infect the trees, and then they all fall down. And it's at that point that a lot of councils, a lot of landowners will take the trees down because they're constituted as a bit of a risk. Well, what we're doing is we're leaving them. And what we hope to happen will that these hedges will flop out and expand and become wider and a much more valuable wildlife resource. Mammals, insects, birds, that's what we want to encourage here. A really important point about this is that the ancient forest of Wychwood was all around here. So these trees, these hedgerows, these oaks are the direct genetic descendants of all the oaks that used to be around here thousands of years ago. So it's really, really important that we keep hold of them so that we can continue that genetic diversity that you need in this sort of area.
So what makes Gibbets Close a really exciting opportunity for us is all of the natural building blocks which will help us to restore the site. So we've got this amazing network of hedgerows which crisscrosses the site and provides corridors for wildlife to move around. But it also has these really amazing trees which are providing a bountiful natural seed source which will help the forest to regenerate here over time, largely under its own steam. Gibbets Close will give us a rare opportunity over the coming years and decades to work with our colleagues at Oxford University to do some long-term scientific monitoring on how a site like this will change under various different prescriptions.
My name is Cecilia Dalsjö and I am a researcher at the University of Oxford. Wychwood Forest Trust is a really amazing organisation as they're bringing in researchers like us to better understand what's happening on the ground, for better understanding of the ecosystem when you restore a habitat and restore an area. And so this fits really well with what we're doing already at the University of Oxford, looking at nature recovery. We have 2 farms where we're looking at regenerative agriculture in terms of pasture, and this site fits really well into that as it's a former pasture land which has now been restored to natural grassland. In successional terms, we're expecting this grassland to become forest at the end of it. And so what we're looking at is setting up some plots, monitoring different things like biodiversity, microclimate, which basically just means what the soil moisture is doing, what the soil temperature, ambient temperature, what that looks like in the different fields and across different sites. What we're expecting is that as the grass is growing, as the trees start growing on this site, we get a lot more root biomass. And what that means is that the soil will be a lot better placed to take up moisture and hold on to that moisture. And as we go through climate change and the UK becomes hotter, these sites will be a lot better at withstanding drought events, for example.
So what do we expect this site to look like in the future? Well, we think that in 5 to 10 years, the whole site will begin to soften and the trees will begin to regenerate. The hedgerows will spread back out into the fields again, and we'll create a really interesting mosaic of grassland and scrub and young woodland. We're quietly confident that give it 10 years, we might find that we have nightingales and turtle doves singing again right here on the edge of Witney in West Oxfordshire. This is our contribution to tackling the biodiversity and climate crises and working to make the world a better place and encourage more wildlife and biodiversity for all of us to enjoy. If you'd like to support our latest project at Gibbets Close, or you'd like to know more, then please go onto the website where you'll find some more information about our plans. And if you want to come and see it for yourself, book yourself on a guided tour on the website and we'll take you around and explain in a bit more detail what we hope to achieve here.